Most of our companies do not have processes. Most of them, the ideas are in the head of the CEO. You go there, if the CEO is not around, okay, make we call on Ghana. Make we call her. Begin to call on that. Does it make sense? Why can't someone step into that particular place and people have been handed over processes? They can make those conversations in the absence of the CEO. Those are some of the things. Many of these things are lying in their head. No documented processes of doing things. So that's why we're talking about culture. That's why we're talking about people. So you go to the office, you find someone who is there just crossing his leg. Does it make sense?
And its concept well grasped.
Fake life.
Yes. The frame of reference, molested by family and friends.
My name is Emeka Nobis. I have a gift of speaking, which also complements my gift of writing. I am the CEO and founder of Switchpath Consulting. Switchpath Consulting is an embodiment of my expressions. What I mean is I studied mechanical engineering in university, and right now I'm not doing mechanical engineering. I am in the business of business consulting. And so it's like a movement away from what I used to be before to something else. So that's why it's called Switchpath. Wow. And that movement was courageous, it was bold, it was a confident move against the usual norms, because I was enjoying good salary while I was working as an engineer for Saipem Contracting Nigeria Limited. So it's an embodiment. So Switchpath is an embodiment of creativity, of movement away from the orthodox to things that are unorthodox. Is a place where we depend on the values of integrity, the values of timeliness, the values of community and communal bonding, to be able to create the values for our client, create solutions for our clients. And we are basically about 4 prongs when it comes to building cultures that help businesses to stay profitable. You have people, the kind of people that will work for you, and the company will determine to a large extent how profitable your company will be. This is the time for entrepreneurial employees. It's not a time where employees sit back and expect salaries to be paid to them at the end of the month. They must be engaged in conversations that bring income to the company. And then we also think about the processes. If you don't have processes set in place, your company is heading for disaster. If you don't set up processes that can be duplicated, that can be replicated by human beings, then you're heading for disaster. Then also you have perception. The kind of perception that you build for your business is critical. You can't be running a consulting company and you are locating it in a place where even when you mention the name, not to sound condescending or anything, but you can compare when you have your business in the GRA part of Port Harcourt to when you are doing business in Bundu Waterside. There's a whole lot of difference, right? Yeah. The kind of way a company is designed can even help you to make deals. So somebody's walking into your office and they are seeing this motivational stuff on the walls. It can help you to click the deal because they feel comfortable to work with you. So these are the things. There are a lot of things that are embodied in these 4 things that I mentioned, but that's basically what my company does. And there's always a way to do things. I grew up under a man, a father, who understood process. My father didn't jump in doing things. He would always try to see how things worked out. So that was instilled in us. So I had to realize that for me to be able to do business well, I needed to understand the path. So first thing I did was to enroll myself into a business school, Faith Foundation, where I was for 3 months. And so I understood the rudimentary things concerning business. And then I began to reach out to these individuals that I called reference points. People like Steve Harris, people like Fela Durotue, people like Tyler Ilori in Lagos. So I will leave Port Harcourt and go and sit down with them. What does it take to really do well in the consulting industry? And they told me things. Visibility was one of them. And like, you need to be known. People need to know you because they need to know you to trust you. If they don't trust you, they won't give you your money. They won't give you their money. And so that was what I began to do. Then, since I wasn't physically available to travel and do a lot of things because of my job, social media was there for me to start putting my voice out there.
This is your story.
Yeah.
Pains to me like, when people say follow your passion, right? And there are some persons who have argued against passion, No,
I think I realize where I understand where the whole confusion comes in. It's not as if they're not saying you shouldn't follow your passion, but you need to realize that your passion has to pay because you need money to survive.
Right.
So many are doing the passion thing, but they're not thinking how the passion will pay.
Okay.
And so they become depressed, they become broke, and then sometimes they give up.
You knew that there was something within you that's more than your regular job, and you wanted to go for that.
Exactly.
Probably because you're passionate about it.
Exactly. Very passionate about it.
So let us explore some of the ideas you had about the business you were venturing in, and how that, changed over time.
Okay.
For the benefit of those who are passionate and want to delve into their passion, how was your own personal?
So the thing is that sometimes you have an idea that you think that will work, but that idea is not suitable for the market, or the market is not ready for it, or you are far ahead of the market. Let me give you a particular example of what happened to me. So when I left my job, a lot of individuals were like, hey, I like what you did. I want to leave my job also. So I felt, okay, so everybody likes this kind of thing I'm doing. Let me create a product, which is a training experience for them to come and understand what to do to be able to leave their job. This was in 2016, when Nigeria was also experiencing a recession, if you remember. And so I designed everything and put up the training and all that. No single person paid. When I went back, in all excitement and all that, to start to ask questions, why didn't people pay, even after coming to me to say that they needed it? One thing that I did not address was the fact that after resigning, what next? So I didn't give them that landing part. All I was to tell them was how they were going to leave. But after leaving, what next? That was where the problem was. They didn't have an understanding of the what next. And so that was why they didn't pay. Oh, that's the truth. Okay. So sometimes you may have an idea that but when you get to the market, it tanks. Okay. Do you understand what I mean? Okay. It flaws. That's the truth. So there are some ideas that there's just for you to enjoy and consume. But if you want to make it to go out there in the market, you have to understand what the market wants. That's why we do testing. Okay. So we test.
So through your experience as a consultant, what do you think, especially people who want to start up businesses, what are some of the things they need to consider? Okay, that's paramount.
So they need to understand how viable the idea is. Test the idea. So that's why people do beta testing, right? So there's something we are launching into the market right now called Oga Mentor. So people say they want mentoring, they enter into the inbox, mentor me, or sir, mentor me. So we decided to do a beta testing, just using WhatsApp. So we gathered them together. So this is what we are offering. You may not have direct access to a mentor physically, because I charge for mentoring. Some of these other guys charge for mentoring. But for a little amount of money, you can have access to all of us, a piece of our brain every week. So you get a piece of my brain, you get a piece of his brain, you get a piece of it for just $1,000 a month. And so we've gathered them in WhatsApp, and we realized that as of yesterday, many of them were itching to pay. So you need to be able to understand the viability of your idea. That's the thing. Test the viability of your idea.
Test the viability.
Right? So that before you now scale it up, that's a critical thing for you to understand. Then start out. I know people say they start out small. That's good. Start out small. So whenever they start out Switchpart Consulting, we realize that if we're going to be in the GRA part of Port Harcourt, it adds up to our perception. But we cannot burn our pockets because we want to create perception, right? So vis-a-vis, we did what we had an analysis. If we were to rent a space for ourselves, we're going to be spending like $4 million when the business hasn't started making money. So it would be foolish for us to do that. So what we did was to go and get a co-working space in the heart of GRA, which cut down our cost so considerably. So they say start small. That's our starting small, right? And then you need to understand also that you have to always market your product. You can't be quiet about it. Look at Coca-Cola. Despite the fact that they are all over the world, these guys are always jamming in our faces every day consistently on TV, YouTube, everywhere. Coke is there. So marketing, you have to consistently communicate the value of what your product is in the marketplace consistently.
Okay, so from your observation as a consultant, you've dealt with lots of businesses here in Africa. Do you think there is something we need to do differently?
Yeah, that's the thing. The culture thing I'm talking about. That's why our companies do what we're doing. Most of our companies do not have processes. Most of them, the ideas are in the head of the CEO. You go there, if the CEO is not around, okay, make we call on that now. Make we call her. Begin to call on that. Does it make sense? Why can't someone step into that particular place and people have been handed over processes? They can make those conversations in the absence of the CEO. Those are some of the things. Many of these things are lying in their head. No documented processes of doing things. So that's why we are talking about culture. That's why we're talking about people. So you go to the office, you find someone who is there just crossing his leg. Does it make sense?
Do you think there's a way business needs to be structured in order to weather unfortunate situations when they come?
I knew you were going to ask that. So the thing is that because we began to look at business plans, because nobody has ever experienced this kind of thing before, right? Nobody has expected. My father, he was 70-something years old, has never experienced this kind of thing before. We never knew. So the beautiful thing that this thing has done is that when we are planning business plans now, when you're doing business plans, you now have to factor in when, if this thing happens, that human beings can no longer interact physically with your business, what will be the solution? What will you do? So it's being factored in. That's one beautiful thing now. So business consultants and business people are now expanding the scope of business plans, unlike before. So start thinking, if there ever become a time, if there will ever be in the future, a time when we can't have these physical interactions anymore, because the cinemas can't function right now, the most of the restaurants are not functioning right now, we can't go in and eat and all that, things that have to do with the human relationship, what do we do? So that's what this thing has brought, and it's going to make our minds to start thinking in many dimensions to be able to weather things that happen in the future. This has also brought us to the fact that you don't spend everything that you're making in the company, because that's the reality of African CEO. Let me not say African, many Nigerian CEOs. So you have a windfall. The next thing, you want to marry a new wife, you want to build a bigger house, you want to have a bigger car, and you keep squandering money. You keep squandering money. But the ones who are futuristic, they are the ones who are still paying their staff up to now, because the money that they have kept aside somewhere, the money that they have put into investment vehicles, because your company has to also invest money in other businesses. A business can be investing in other business, not necessarily only individuals. And that's how many big companies in the world do. So you can have a company like Nestle. Nestle can be investing in other companies such that those investments can be bringing money back, not necessarily only the productive efforts of the employees of the company. That's the truth. Wow. So you should have an account. I don't know whatever name that you have to call it. No matter the money that's coming
for contingency,
for contingency purposes, it can be put in. No matter how little it is,
okay,
because you can never tell what can happen in the future.
Right.
So these are the new realities. The realities that, or maybe these things will be cementing our beliefs that these things are the things that should be done in business.
Before you left your company, you decided to incorporate a new way of relating with your colleagues. Are they your colleagues?
Yeah, our colleagues.
Okay.
Even though they were my subordinates.
Good. Your subordinates. Good. I even like the idea. Your subordinates. You dealt with them in a way that's not even company policy, right? Mm-hmm. And now you started your business and you're a business consultant. Mm-hmm. How do you think most businesses deal with their employees that rob them without their realizing it? And how do you think they can better deal with employees?
The thing is about systems.
Okay.
If you don't have systems in place, they will do anyhow.
What if the system is the place you were working had a system?
Yes.
But the system did not recognize that you need to deal with people as individuals. Mm-hmm. Or you need to pay attention to what's happening in their personal life.
That's why when you have these conversations, it's now the role of the CEO or the people in charge to be able to incorporate this into the system. Mm-hmm. If they fail in that aspect, then it keeps running the way it's been running.
Yeah. So what are those things that companies miss out? Now you're running your own company. There's probably a way you're dealing with your employees.
Yes. That's
different from the traditional business.
That's why we talk about culture. So first and foremost, at the beginning, set up the culture. How do we relate as people in this company? Culture of openness. One of my staff tells me no to my face, but you did not do that inside him, you'll be fired.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
So when he tells me no, I'm thinking, why did he even say no? Maybe there's something I'm not seeing. And then I go ahead to think about it. It's not a company where you'll be doing yes, sir, and then you are doing no. That's a recipe for disaster. There has to be a way that they can disagree without rancor. Because we are looking for a positive thing for the company. Do you understand the thing? So we set up the culture from the get-go. We are like family. We joke in the company. We laugh. We crack jokes. We do. But we all understand that it has to be within the boundary. Right. Because the company is a human being that must be nurtured to grow. Do you understand? So it's the culture from the get-go, the culture of creativity, the culture of being not having boundary, what we mean in terms of our thinking. So like the guys, when I work with them, there's never a time I say this thing may not work. When they come with ideas, we need to look at how the idea can work. Not the person brings like, or you say, I have been in this thing for 20 years, you know, go work. Okay. That's one thing that kills employees from bringing forth their ideas anymore. All of them, every time they have brought ideas, okay, let's how can you anchor it? Can you push forth for this and see how it can work? If it doesn't work, we learn our lessons from there. We've tested this and it didn't work. Wow. If it works, we see how we can improve on it. That's exactly. You understand? Like what we are doing currently now in the company, we know that we're supposed to do some deals before the whole lockdown. We're supposed to go for a training in the company, our very first deal. But because of the virus, we shut down. Now we decided, okay, what could we do? What could we do? One of them said, is there an opportunity for us to expose our brand by doing CSR trainings? So we have been running CSR trainings every weekend. This weekend will be the third one.
Can you break that down? CSR?
Corporate social responsibility. So what we are doing is that we bring people, business owners, into a WhatsApp group, and we're teaching them how their businesses can survive now and the strategies that they can utilize to be able to get their business running after the COVID. So I teach adaptive leadership in there, and I teach adaptive marketing in there. And then our content creation strategies teaches adaptive branding and adaptive positioning in the WhatsApp group. Then we have an external consultant who comes in to teach them adaptive tools that they can use, adaptive tech tools that they can use to get their business running now and even after. We have been doing this, and why are we doing this? Is because we need to have exposures. People who don't know about our company, we now know about our company. So they get into the group, we tell them to save our number so that they can be seen our WhatsApp status by the time. So they see our WhatsApp status, we can use our status to sell. So we teach on our WhatsApp status and then we can sell something. That's the way that we get money flowing in, right? So these are the things that we are doing. So we are going to be doing it all through the month of May. Every weekend we're exposing ourselves. Every weekend we're exposing our company. Every weekend. Do you understand what that does to us? Right. So that's it.
Draw from your experience, your 3 important truths or lessons that anybody who's starting a business or who's running a business need to hold firmly through your experiences. There are certain truths you've come to identify.
The first thing is the first truth is that the business is like a human being. That's what I believe in. If a human being is not nurtured, if he's not fed water, if he's not fed food, then ultimately it's death that is calling. So I see my business, I see the company as a human being, primarily to be fed with money. If you don't feed it with money, meaning that income coming in, no matter what we put up, we are going to die. That's the truth. So we need to treat the business as a human being. And treating the business as a human being means that we need to have processes and don't do things anyhow. Because if you do it anyhow, definitely the business is going to collapse. That's the first truth. Second truth is the fact that we are open to advancement. What it means is that as we are building, we allow ourselves to experience things that can help us to grow. Things that we never expected. I mean, leaving ourselves open to circumstances that can help us to grow better. It means that we're not shutting down ourselves to experiencing new truths, new realities. We are always accepting the fact that things will not be the same. And so these ideas can come from a conversation that we had with someone on the road. It can come from the failures that we had by the time we put out some certain ideas that didn't work out well. Opening ourselves to these realities, opening ourselves to conversations that can help us to get better. That's the second truth. And then the third truth is to know that people matter. Our company is founded on love. Business is love. If we are creating the things that are helping individuals to experience greater profitability, increased productivity, we are looking for problems that people have and creating solutions for them. If that is not love, then what are we doing? So we believe that people matter. Our stakeholders matter. Our employees matter. Our clients matter. These three people. They matter. So they are human beings, they're not machines. So our business is founded on love. Then we understand that people must always matter in our business. Our stakeholders, our employees, and even in this pandemic, their salaries are still the same. Their remuneration, let me put that, is still the same. And we are fighting to keep it like that until after the pandemic.